Hey guys, it's Mr. Decker here. We are back on code.org, the Unit 2 Web Development Unit, and we're looking at Lesson 9, Styling Elements with CSS. So let's go ahead and hop over to Bubble 2 and begin coding, shall we? Alright, so like it says there, this icon means that this level is part of a larger project and changes will be saved across these levels. Layout and style. Under do this, it says look through the web page below for new styles. So we've got, goodness, look, there's a lot happening here in terms of the styles. So we've got multiple pictures on the page which we can see, but we've got borders around them, and the borders are rounded. The text is moved over to different places. The pictures are around. Wow. Okay, there's a lot happening here. So let's take a look at the style sheet and look at what's going on here. So we've got a rule set for the background, making it light blue, an H1 rule set for a font family, H2 rule set for a font family, and then the images. Okay, so the images have a rule set now. Floating left, width of 250 pixels, a margin of 10 pixels, border color, border width, border style, border radius, and so on. And then paragraphs have their own rule set down here as well. Goodness, there's a lot happening. Okay, so in the next few levels, you're going to be changing and adding new styles on this page. All right, let's go. Okay, let's get stuff out of the way. All right. Under do this, we're working on background colors for this bubble 3. Find the code in the style sheet that is making the background of the entire page light blue. So let's go to the style sheet, background color, light blue there. It says try to change the background color of just the paragraphs. Oh, step 2, change the code to make the page a different color. We can do that. So instead of light blue for the background color, let's just change the text here. I don't want to do the RGB thing yet. So let's go all the way back, background. Let's find background color. There we go. And then let's go with aquamarine, semicolon. Make that really nice and bright, stand out really a lot. Really a lot. All right. And then try to change the background color of just the paragraph. So let's go down here. We'll make another line within that paragraph rule set, background color for just the paragraphs. And for this, we'll do antique white, semicolon, and that's changing the background color for just those paragraphs. All right, and then let's move on to the next bubble, bubble 4. On bubble 4, we're going to find the body rule set in the style sheet, so let's go straight to it. And then let's look at text alignment, color, and other text properties. Okay, so we need to add these, try out some different properties to check your guesses. So for the body, let's try text align. We'll try left, semicolon, refresh and save. Okay. Okay, it did move some things around. Let's try text align right. Okay, that moved everything over to the right. Let's try center. Let's see what happens. Yeah, okay. All right, and then color, just straight up color. Let's see, been using blue violet a lot. Okay, so that changes the text color. And then okay, so that was it for that. All right, so obviously if you change things for the body, that's changing the whole thing, right? changing the whole thing. Alright, let's finish and continue. And it says, look at the float property inside your image rule set. So let's go to the style sheet. Our image rule set starts on 19, finishes on 27. What do we think that float property does? Float left. Let's see what float right does. Okay. So that moves the image to the right-hand side of the text. If we do float left or change it back to what it was originally, that makes sure that the images are on the left-hand side of the text, which I do like better, but it does say change the value from left to right and leave it that way. Okay. That does fix the text where it was like showing up in weird places though, so that does look better. And let's move on to the next bubble. Bubble 6. And this time it says, underdo this, find the property in the style sheet that controls the width of the images. Alright, so images width 250 pixels on line 21. Change the width of the images to be larger or smaller. So if we change this to like 400, it makes the pictures really big. If we were to change it, it was 250 originally. If we changed it to 100, it makes the pictures really small. All right, on step 3, create a new rule with a height property, control the height of the images. Okay, so let's change this to 300, make them a little bit larger. And then let's control the height. So with our cursor at the end of line 21, we're going to create a new line, 22. We'll choose height. And let's go with like maybe 225 px, semicolon. That works. Making everything nice and uniform then, as far as the sizes of our images. And then on 4, use a width property in the paragraph rule set to change the width of your paragraphs. Okay. So let's use width down here for our paragraph rule set, and let's try like 600 px, semicolon. Okay, cool. All right. Let's see what that looks like if we did like 200 px. See, it makes these paragraphs really skinny. All right, let's stick with 600 so it stretches across the screen. Let's text align center here to make that look more uniform. Refresh and save. All right, very good. Let's finish there. That puts us on to bubble 7, where there's lots of practice to do. Let's check on our recording. We're 8 minutes in. We're making good time. 8 minutes and we're already on bubble 7. All right, let's do 7a, debug some images. All right, on this one, these images are all supposed to be 100 pixels high, but the height property is not working. All right, so let's see, 100 pixels high. Let's go look at the image rule set. They just have 100 instead of 100 px. That's the problem there. All right, so that fixes that. Finish. And let's do 7b, debug the style. None of the styles are working for this page. Debug the code and then change the styles to something you like. All right, so let's link these. So yeah, they're using src here where it should be href. Refresh and save. Now our styles are working. All right. Change the styles to something that we like. Let's change the deep pink to something else. Let's use RGB for this one. That'll work for me. And that's the only style I'm going to change. Let's finish and continue. Debug the heading. See, the preview for this page looks fine, and all of the HTML and CSS elements are being displayed correctly, but if you look in the code, something isn't quite right that could cause problems later on. Under do this, it says, can you spot what code is in the wrong area and fix it? Okay, so, look at the code and something's not right. Oh, okay. The H1 and H3 are supposed to be, so I'm going to Control-C those, put those in the body down here. There we go. Alright, I think that might be the only issue. I'm pretty sure, yeah. So the only thing that we should see up here is our link to the style sheet. So let's finish and continue from there. Alright, 7D, adding new rules. The rules for the body right now are not very exciting. I agree. Add some more to make it look cool. You can also add or change other rules. So let's go in here and let's add some to our rule sets here. So the H6, text align right, to get it over there with that image. The body has nothing. Let's use a background color. Maybe something simple, since this is about the pangolin and they're brown, maybe we could use, yeah, there we go. That's very nature-y. Make sure you get your semicolon in there. And then let's change our image just a little bit. Let's get a border on this image. Maybe brown. Does that do anything? Nope. Border style, maybe? There we go. Border style. And then let's go with solid. There we go. And then maybe border color. Let's make it really stand out. There we go. Bringing attention to that image. Let's see. Let's change some colors for the text. We don't have anything for the H1. I don't really want to add one. What's the A rule set? Paragraph rule set. Let's do color. And let's match. Oof, that's hard to see. I don't like that. Let's try navy blue. Refresh and save. It didn't like that. Oh, that was the border color. Whoops, Control Z to undo. Leave that as aqua. It was down here, right? This is what I'm changing to navy. My bad. Navy, and then semicolon. There we go. Refresh and save. Alright, I like it. It's looking good. Much more interesting website than what we were looking at before. Alright, let's finish and continue. That puts us on fix image width. The images here are all different sizes, with some of them way too big. Under do this, it says create a rule that makes the width of all the images the same and sizes them down. Okay, so style sheet, image rule set, let's do width. And let's set the width to like 350 px semicolon. And actually, we may need to make them even smaller, because look at this text out here. Let's see. Does it need to be even smaller? No, that looks messed up, doesn't it? Alright, let's try 400. and just leave it at 400 so they're nice and uniform. Alright, let's finish. And then fix the image position. We're going to change the position of these images. Under do this, it says move the images using the float property so that they are to the side of the text rather than below it. Okay. So let's go to Style, Image, and then we're going to choose Float. Whoop, not flat, but float. Select it, and then we want it to the side, maybe to the right. That looks pretty good. Alright, so I love foxes, talking about flowers, talking about watermelon, talking about birds. Alright, very good. Semicolon. Don't forget the semicolon. Let's see what it looks like if we float to the left, if that's any better. I like it on the right hand side, I do believe. Foxes, flowers. Yeah, I like it on the right. So let's put it there. Alright, and let's finish there. And that gets us through all of the practice. Let's click Finish again. Alright, now that you've seen different ways to style, it's time to try it out yourself. Here's a web page you've seen before, but it needs some style. Alright, it says give the web page a background color. Alright, so Style. Let's do body, curly braces, background, color, and we'll go with cornflower blue, semicolon. Make all of the images go to the right of the page, so IMG, space, curly braces, float, right, semicolon. Alright, and then make all of the text a different color. All of the text a different color. Alright, so I think, let's see, we've got an H1, we've got paragraphs, and then we've got OL. Okay. So here we need to have an H1 rule set, curly braces. Let's change the color of our H1. Let's make it azure. Have that stand out. Let's make a paragraph rule set. Color. Maybe antique white. That looks good. And then an OL rule set. And we'll change the color for that as well. Let's see what aqua looks like. That looks good. Alright, and then add any other styles that we want. I'm just going to sea cow, golden toad. Alright. I'm going to add a border style. Let's use dotted just to see what that looks like. Okay. And let's keep everything the same as it stands. Let's finish there. You know what to do here. It's just a reflection. Answer the questions in the text box. Hit submit. Move on. And then let's do some challenges here. Extra code, create borders. We've been doing that. Find the rules in the style sheet that set the image borders for color and width. So let's go to the style sheet. Color, saddle brown, width, Border width, 4 pixels. Okay. So let's try out some different border styles, dotted, dash, solid, double. Let's see what those do. Solid, dotted, you see that one. Let's see what dashed does. I liked dashed. Solid is the typical one, and then double, let's see what that does. Okay, so there's 2 skinny lines there. All right, we'll leave it at double, and then change the color and width. So let's change the width to 8 from 4. We doubled that. Border color, let's go with blue to have that changed. Or blue-violet, so it matches the titles, right? I think we used that somewhere else. Blue-violet right there for the body, whole body. And then put a border on another type of page element, such as one of the headings or the paragraphs. Let's do that for the H1 tag. So border style, and let's use the double for that as well. There we go. Cool. Done and done. Let's finish there. All right. 10B, extra code, rounded corners. Look at the border radius property in the image rule set. Image rule set's down here. Border radius, 10 pixels. Okay, try different values. Let's see what 100 does. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Let's see what 1 does. Almost nothing. 10 does that slightly rounded corner. So the bigger the number, the more rounded the border radius is. Okay, so let's do like 200. Interesting. I like that. I like that, actually. Okay. Figure out what you like best. I like 200. Let's go with it. All right, extra code margins. Margins specify how much space should be around an element. Find the margin property in the image rule set. All right, margin is on line 24. Change the margin to be larger and discuss with a partner. Larger. Okay, so let's see what 100 does. Okay, too much margin. So that means that the next thing, or any other element, has to be 100 pixels away from it. Let's see what 1 looks like. Okay, let's see what 10 looks like. Just barely does anything. Let's do like 30. Yeah, I like 30. Choose another element type and give it a margin 2. Okay, let's choose, what is Banoffee pie? What is that? Where is that? Desserts of the World is an H1. Ras Malai is an H2. Okay, so let's go into the H2 rule set and give it a margin. Select it. And then let's say 30 pixels for that as well. And that spaces that out nicely. Very good. Okay. Let's finish. And then extra code background image. How do we do this one? Okay. The background of an element can be set to any image that you would like. Just like when inserting a photo, you can use the image's URL name. Find the property in the style sheet that controls the background image. So there's a style sheet background image here. URL background cloud.jpg, and change the image to one of your choice. Okay. Well, we're talking about clouds, so which cloud is it using? Interesting. Okay. So let's find a picture of a cloud, shall we? Change the image to one of your choice. All right, so let's go to Picks for Learning. Let's find a cloud. Thunderhead at sunset. Clouds after a storm. Let's try this one. Download the image. All right, and then let's go back to our lesson. We're going to add image, upload file. I just downloaded that. So clouds 1, 2, 3, 4. Open. There's my image. So exit that. Clouds 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. Okay. And then back to the style sheet. Let's try this. Background dash image. Okay. Background dash image. URL down here. And then we're picking clouds 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's end that. Whoa, maybe I'm not positive I did that right. Let's see. I don't think I did. Why didn't that turn out quite right? Or maybe it's way too big, 1600 by 1200 pixels. Let's see if we can size that down some, if that's the problem. Let's Control C this, and then let's Control Z back to where it was. Make sure that I'm putting that in correctly. Oh, semicolon at the end. Okay, I think that's where I messed up. So let's Control V. There we go. It was the semicolon. All right. Whew. Thank goodness. All right. Hey, and you can read everything pretty well there. That's very good. Okay. So that was my problem. Needs a semicolon, not a greater than symbol. I'm silly like that sometimes. I'm glad it's working now, though. All right. Let's finish and continue. And from there, it looks like you've got some challenges to complete. So if you're in my class, I'd like for you to choose one of E or F and then hop onto G and go ahead and be adding to your web page. That's it for me. That's the whole lesson. I hope you had fun. I'll see you next time.